This screencast is on creating an MLA formatted works cited page that you're going to need for your first two literary analysis essays. And so, hopefully, at this point, you've already worked on properly citing a text. You're having to do that on your CTE assignments. But for an essay, we do things a little bit differently. We actually create a separate page for our works cited, which will be the last page of your essay. So I'm going to kind of walk you through how to set that up today. And actually, this is the first works cited page that you're going to need for your first essay. So I'm doing it for you. You can replicate that, and it's already kind of done. I'm taking all the guesswork out of it for you so that you can replicate that on your own essay. So the first thing that you're going to do is it will be the last page of your essay. So this should already be done if your paper is set up properly. It should already be set up with that running header with your last name and the page number. And so the thing that you need to remember is that even if so say your essay runs 3 pages, and on the third page there's only 2 sentences, you still skip down to the next full page for your works cited. You don't tack it onto the bottom. We're doing that with our CTE instead of creating a formal page, a works cited page. But for the essay, it has to have that formal works cited page. So it's very important for you to remember that. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, that I'm going to do here, is just enter my last name and insert my page number. But it should already be doing that if I have my thing set up properly. So remember that it usually defaults to Arial. I'd already been working on this page, so it's already set up for you. But that running header is really important too. That you make sure that you go in and change that font to Times New Roman 12 point. Okay, so technically this should be page 3 or page 4 of my essay, but we're going to just run with it like it because I have no other pages attached to it. All right, the top line is going to be your title of your page, which is Works Cited. Okay, should be on the very top line right underneath your running header, Times New Roman 12-point font. Now, your whole entire document is going to be double spaced. It should keep that same format. So when you hit return, it should actually look a little bit more like, well, I say that like that. Okay. All right. So when you're creating a works cited page, whether you have 2 entries or 10 entries, you always want to set them up by author's last name. We're going to do them alphabetically by author's last name. And in our first essay, we have 2 poets that we're going to be working with, Alfred Lord Tennyson and Dylan Thomas. So the first thing that we're going to do is type in our Tennyson comes before Thomas. So Tennyson, Alfred Lord here, Alfred Lord Tennyson. And we are going to just follow our citation format that we've already been working on with our CTEs. So the title of the poem is Crossing the Bar. The title of our textbook is The Bedford Introduction to Literature. Remember that short stories and poetry, song titles, those shorter works, they always get quotation marks. But when you're dealing with like an anthology or a book or a play title, it's going to get it will get italics. Okay. Edited by Michael Meyer. Bedford St. Martin's, our publisher. It's published in 2016. And we do page number. If it's a single page, it's P period. If it's multiple pages, PP period. Page number, and it's a single page for this guy, so A50. Okay? All right. So let's work on our next citation, and then we'll go back in and do our hanging indents. Okay? Let's see. Okay. All right. The next one is Thomas Dylan. Title of the poem is Do Not Go Gentle. Into is a preposition, so it doesn't get capitalized. Into. That's good night. The Bedford. Now, the good news is that for both of these essays, the works cited page should look almost identical with the exception of the author, the titles of the text, and the page numbers. So, 2016, you can just keep it as a template and use it again so that you don't have to reset all of this stuff in there. All right, so now we have our two texts. Let's italicize that anthology title, and then we'll work on our structure. All right, so we want to double space. It should already double space it naturally for you. Um, because your paper was already set up in that format. So when you're working on your works cited, it should already be double spaced for you. You're going to double space your entries, but there's a single space between the entries. So the entries themselves should be double spaced, and then there should be a single space in between. All right, now we have to do our hanging indent. So let's copy that entire first citation. And for some reason it's already kind of indenting for us. We want to move everything over. I don't know why it's to the left hand side. I mean, so indented already. So I'm going to make sure that it starts at 0.00. Okay, highlight the whole thing. Take your bottom triangle, move it over to the 0.5. Then take that first line and the rectangle and drag it back to the 0.00. Okay, same thing with my second entry. I want to drag it over to the 0.5, grab that first line, and I want to move it back to the first, to the left-hand side. Okay, that is a properly cited works cited page, properly formatted in MLA format. It should look like this for these first two essays. Remember, author's last name, as the order that you put them in, alphabetical by author's last name, that your entries themselves are double spaced and you have a single space in between your entries always, and that's what your last page, your works cited page, should look like on your essay.